Copy this one simple forehand technique from Novak Djokovic, and I guarantee you your forehand will improve. Now, this video is courtesy of Court Level Tennis on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to their awesome channel. I've put their link in the description below. And this is incredibly easy to implement in your forehand. I want you to watch Novak, and I want you to film yourself from the back and see if you can copy this. I want you to look at Novak at contact. So there's contact. Where is his non-hitting hand? His non-hitting hand is visible over his non-hitting shoulder from the back view, and it looks like he's waving to the opponent. See, when Novak takes his racket back, he takes it back initially with both hands. That's a unit turn, right? He's turning the racket, turning the body, right? His opponent or his hitting partner can see his back. And in fact, we can see the writing on the front of his chest, right? He like really coils and turns his back to the opponent, but he doesn't keep his left hand there. And I'm going to show you this in front of the camera in a second. So stick around because I'm going to show you how to practice this and how easy it is. When he drops the racket, that's when the non-hitting hand clears. Look at this. As the racket begins dropping, he begins clearing the non-hitting hand. I watch so many recreational players, they begin dropping the racket and their non-hitting hand stays. You don't want that. You take the racket back with both hands, and then as the racket begins dropping, you want to clear the non-hitting hand out of the way. And that is what facilitates hip turn. You hear coaches talk all the time about hip turn, but then what's not being addressed is the non-hitting hand. And that can actually become a counterweight, and the person actually hugs themselves when they're done. You don't want that, and then the hips can't rotate. So on a forehand, when you film yourself from the back, it should look like you are waving to your opponent as you strike the ball. That makes sure that you uncoil, and when you uncoil properly, spin and speed becomes so much easier. Now, to help me demonstrate this, I've got the Topspin Pro here. To get your own for at-home practice, simply use my link. It's in the description. I'm also going to pin it in the first comment. Coiling and uncoiling are going to make your forehand better. And the use of the non-hitting hand allows for the coiling and uncoiling to be done properly. When you take your racket back, focus on taking the racket back with both hands. You can even practice it where you just take the racket back only with your top hand, the non-hitting hand, just to feel what that is like. If I'm hitting the ball that way, when I turn, the feeling should be I'm trying to show the back of my front shoulder to my opponent. When I coil, it gives me the opportunity to uncoil. But that uncoiling is going to happen if the non-hitting hand then does what it's supposed to do from that point forward. Once I take the racket back with both hands, that's when the racket's going to begin to drop. Well, when the racket drops, that's when my non-hitting hand needs to clear. So they each have a job to do. Both arms go back, and then as the racket drops, the non-hitting hand starts clearing forward. It's almost like there's someone standing in front of me and I just want to move them out of the way. So when I'm hitting the ball and I clear the non-hitting hand, it looks like I'm waving to the opponent as I strike. If you're my opponent and I turn for a forehand, turn with two hands, you can see my non-hitting hand clearing. In fact, if I just get rid of my racket, watch what my non-hitting hand is doing. Look at this hand. Really focus on that. I think with no racket, it's going to be easier for you to see that. As the racket drops, I clear, and at contact, it looks like I'm waving to you. But it's the back view that really tells the story. I want you to film yourself from the back. Do it today. Do it tomorrow. Maybe shadow swing in your house. Get a Topspin Pro and film yourself practicing at home on the Topspin Pro. At contact, when you film yourself from the back, have the non-hitting hand visible over the non-hitting shoulder. So many recreational players are out playing, struggling with their forehand because when they hit the ball, their non-hitting hand is visible here. The non-hitting hand should not be visible on the hitting side at contact. You will end up hugging yourself, you cannot turn your hips, and your shot suffers. So take the racket back with both hands, and at contact, have the non-hitting hand up and like it's waving. Now, I recommend that you catch. Some players will let the non-hitting hand drop a little bit, but I recommend that you catch just to make sure that that non-hitting hand was waving. You'll notice your ability to uncoil on the forehand when you wave increases, helping you with power and with spin. Now, if you're looking for new people in your local area to play matches against or practice with, or if you want to find a coach who's close to you who can help you with your game, then use my link for PlayYourCourt, and it's playyourcourt.com/2-minute tennis. When you use my link to sign up, you get 50% off. Let me hit a couple forehands here. I kind of just talked the whole time. I didn't really demonstrate. Let me hit a couple here, and I'm going to wave at contact. In fact, one of these, I'm just going to freeze the video at contact, and you'll see where my non-hitting hand is. And it looks like I'm waving. Practice this, and there's no doubt you're going to gain confidence, win more matches, and play much better tennis. This is Ryan Reedy from 2minutetennis.net. You got this.